Blunt rolls out to the right side. Goes for the bounce. Let's see Walker. He's got it. Touchdown, Cal. What a bonanza. Oh, incredible play.
In San Diego, and Joe went to elementary school and junior high and high school there. What was Joe's elementary school and high school in San Diego?
He went to Meridian Grade School,
Uh-huh.
Greenfield Junior High, Granite Hills High School, and Grossmont J.C.
And Joe was the youngest of three, you mentioned.
Yes.
There were two older brothers, and they were
Yes.
both athletes, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the older brothers.
John was the oldest, and in school he went in for track, and he finally wound up to be an engineer. And Tom, of course, he got a scholarship to WSU out of high school, and he played football for them for 4 years.
What position did he play?
Quarterback.
Quarterback also.
Yeah.
And when was he there, in the mid-'60s?
Yeah, late 50s and early 60s.
Okay. And what kind of a role did they play in Joe's life growing up as a lot of
they
older
were
siblings?
role models and examples and buddies, and Joe looked up to his brothers, and they all three loved each other, and they took care of Joe and all his wants and needs, and I think that's one of the reasons why he wound up to be the way he was because he felt so secure, because he had these two older brothers, and then of course his mother and father.
Now, Joe was a great athlete in college. Was he always a great athlete as a kid growing up?
Yes, he was. He participated in the punt, pass, and kick for little kids, 8 years, 9. He participated in that, and then he always played baseball. He loved baseball, and he was good at baseball, and he played basketball too in high school. He played all three sports in high school. But then, of course, when he got into college, why, he boiled it down to just football.
It's pretty hard being an athlete at a school like Cal and one sport, let alone two.
Oh, well, yeah, it's very difficult.
So what led him to Grossmont, his first 2 years of junior college ball?
Well, if he did not get a 4-year scholarship out of high school, so that was the only thing left for him to do, was to go to junior college.
And what kind of recruiting attention did he get when he was at Grossmont?
His second year, he did. Then BYU and Washington and Cal, and I forget, there was a college or two back east. I forget what those were.
Do you remember how Cal came into the picture? Do you remember who recruited him?
Well, Mike White was the main one, and he spoke at their banquet, their football banquet, because he wanted Joe to go to Cal. And there was one time when BYU wanted Joe to come to their school, college, for a recruitment visit, and they'd sent the tickets, and in fact we were at the airport and to put Joe on the plane to go, and he got a call from I can't remember the guy's name, one of the coaches, and he talked him out of going.
One of the Cal coaches?
Yeah, so we turned around and went back home, and Joe never did go. And then he was supposed to go to Washington too. Well, in fact, I believe that instead of BYU, he was supposed to go to Washington, because Tom lived in Seattle and he wanted him to go there so badly. And but they talked him out of going, so he didn't go.
What are your memories of Joe at Cal, particularly in his first year?
Well, great memories. We went to 4 of his games in the beginning, and went to Georgia, Oklahoma, Arizona, and then back to Cal. And but let's see, this was the second year. The first year we didn't get to go to many of his games because we were building a home. And but the second year, then we went to quite a few. And he always did well, and we enjoyed our trips and had a good time.
He seemed very happy at Cal. Did he tell you much about his experience?
Oh yes, yes, yes. He enjoyed it very much, and he studied hard and made good grades, and he was on his way to big things, but that wasn't meant to be.
This is Sather Gate, the formal entrance to the campus of the University of California in Berkeley. This university has produced Supreme Court justices, governors, historians, humanitarians. There are 10 Nobel Prize winners teaching on this campus right now. It's a great university. This is graduating weekend at the University of California, and if the normal processes of life had given him his chance, a young man named Joe Roth would be in the graduating class. But he's not. He lost his game to cancer. He was the quarterback of the California Golden Bear football team. In 1975, as a junior, Joe Roth was tabbed the nation's top passer for the pro scouts, a certain first-round draft choice. When the season ended, Joe had a bothersome mole removed from his cheek. Doctors found it malignant, but they thought they'd caught it in time. 1 year ago, when we interviewed Joe Roth for this program, he was relieved, and he spoke of his cancer in past tense.
You know, it was quite a shock to me because I felt fine. I couldn't really envision myself dying, and because I'd felt good. I'd played football and baseball and had no physical hurt or pain at all.
You know, you look for words to explain a person like Joe Roth, and of course, courage was probably the key thing that he exemplified. And it's amazing. I'm not sure how many people realize that from Honolulu, as you talked about, we went on to Japan, and 1 month before he passed away, he played a football game, and played half of a football game and threw 5 out of 6 passes at that particular time. And what a feat, what courage, and how do you measure that kind of thing?
First month of 1977, Joe Roth played in the Hula Bowl in Honolulu. His last game was the Japan Bowl in Tokyo. He played hard, he played with fervor, he played with enthusiasm, just like he lived.
He always used to tell me that waking up each morning and seeing the sun was a miracle to him, and that all the other trivial problems that everybody goes through during their daily life didn't matter. Just that waking up each day meant so much to him.
He told me on 4 or 5 occasions that he just didn't feel the same way. He didn't have the snap.
When I noticed him, became a little more distant, a little less conversational, and there was just sort of a grayness that, to me, that was setting in.
In all that time, when he was extremely ill at the hospital, when he was at home at the apartment, it never, ever, he never gave you the feeling that he was sick.
So,
He seemed to have a real strong impact on a lot of his teammates. Did you
Yes,
hear from
yes,
them
he
much
did.
over the years?
oh yes, 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 yes. We heard a lot from him early on, but it's been 32 years now, and there's still a couple that we hear from once in a while.
Well, Joe's demeanor in the face of such adversity was so admirable to so many people.
Yes.
He almost came across like he didn't want to let his friends and family down by being sick.
Right, yeah. He didn't tell us, what was going on at all. That he was losing weight, and also that he was vomiting a lot of his meals. He never told us that. And he came home that Thanksgiving, and that's when he discovered all these bumps on his chest. And then he went back and and had the doctor look at him, and then the doctor, it was really the doctor that called us and told us that Joe was really very ill, and he said I'm talking weeks or months at the most, and that was a bad phone call.
Yeah, boy. Were you able to get some good closure with him in the last month or two?
Oh yes, and especially that last week in the hospital. We did.
I've never met a young man so mature at such a young age and was so strong in his beliefs, his faith, and the way he was going to carry himself.
The thing I remember mostly about him was that he was such a nice guy. I mean, he was your everyday all-American kid.
Pretty special individual, pretty special human being.
Joe Roth is probably the definition of uncommon and an uncommon person.
If you want to compare people, there was nobody going to be better than Joe Roth. He could play with anybody.
I mean, I looked at really Joe Roth as a young Joe Montana. I mean, he would have been, in my opinion, as good as Joe.
Well, as I mentioned, Joe will always be a hero to Cal fans. He was a guy that not only excelled on the field but off the field. His courage and the way he carried himself will always be a symbol of Cal football and what it means to be a Cal student. So we can't thank you enough for your role in bringing him to Berkeley and for all the joy that he gave Cal fans over the years.